Hi everybody, Richard Tromans here again from Artificial Lawyer TV. We're doing another product walkthrough today. This time it's Jus Mundi, and to tell us a little bit more about it is Monica. Good to have you on the show.
Hi, Richard. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. And before we get into the actual product walkthrough, Monica is going to tell us a little bit more about the company. Please tell us a bit more.
Thanks, Richard. So let me share with you who we are. Jus Mundi started in 2018, and we are a platform tailored to solve the needs of global legal professionals. So what does that mean? Our first solution was legal research. So we started with a segment of arbitration, which is the preferred dispute resolution mechanism in international business, as you may know. But the challenges of arbitration data is that the data is segregated, multi-format, multilingual, and sometimes even confidential. This presents a series of challenges, or for us, which because we leverage AI, it's more an opportunity. Since the beginning, we've been using extractive AI to be the solution both for our users to find critical legal data and for institutions to be the place where they can publish arbitration data instead of investing in arbitration solution in online databases on themselves. So we become that solution. Up to now, with our current tools, with our current AI extraction processes, we have 100,000 documents in our database, and we have 180,000 visitors per month. And after the success of this first solution that we provided, so legal research, we started a Series A, opened offices in New York and London, since many of our clients were based in the US and the UK. And then we launched our second solution, which is a professional network. This allows users to select the best legal professional for their specific needs. And these profiles and these legal professionals in the database are data-backed legal profiles, basically extracting all the data that we have on cases, on people, institutions, and creating profiles, again, of people, institutions, law firms, to guide decision-making when selecting legal professionals. After this, we became a mission-led company, or a B Corp, as it's known in the UK. And this led us to grow our client base to 600 clients, including Magic Circle law firms, boutique law firms, corporates, and governments. At the same time, again, because of how we've managed to digitize documents, we have grown our partnerships with institutions in a worldwide manner. As you can see, we cover all regions, and partners and institutions trust us to publish their data and even to sometimes pseudonymize confidential awards. So this has allowed us to grow and create a unique database that is the basis for all of our products at Jus Mundi. And again, it's really an unparalleled network of partners. And this led us to, with a wave of generative AI and LLMs, start exploring different solutions that we can offer our clients. So on 2023, where we started playing around, and the first solution that we provided was a solution to enrich our database and basically provide automated summaries on certain documents that we have in our database. That's for our users. For partner institutions, we started providing fully anonymized and automated confidential summaries, which would allow us to finally publish those documents that started being confidential, but because we anonymized and created a summary, this anonymized summary can be published. So that's the second solution we started, but we always had something in mind, which is the Jus AI Assistant. So the Jus AI Assistant, what we've always envisioned, is something that helps you first with your legal research, second, legal analysis, third, legal drafting, and legal translation. And that's what we're working on right now. And I'm gonna go ahead and start with the most exciting part of the presentation, which is actually the demo. And Richard, may I ask if you're seeing my screen?
Yeah,
should be seeing. Perfect.
That's very clear. Thank you.
Awesome. So here is the Jus Mundi platform. This is our traditional search engine, but I'm going to focus more on the Jus AI Assistant. If I click here, I'm directed to the landing page or the home screen of the Jus AI Assistant. And we have right now two use cases allowed. enabled for our users. The first one is ask our database. Here we give complete freedom to our users to do and ask whatever they want and get answers with our database, and interact with the case, which is a specific use case of considering all the complexity of arbitration cases that are so, the documents are so large. Interact with the case to get all the insights that you need from that case, that sometimes the documents are 200 pages each and maybe 30 documents compose the case. So let's start with the first use case, which is ask our database. And here I can either select some suggestions if I'm feeling like playing around, or I can ask, for example, what valuation methods are used to assess damages. And here what the assistant is doing is retrieving data, again, from a rich and unique database, which includes awards, enforcement proceedings, annulment proceedings, expert opinions, publications, checking what are the relevant sources to answer that specific query, detecting the correct format of the output, and providing an answer that you can fully verify, because as you can see, we provide the footnotes of what were the sources that we used to provide the answer. And it formats the answer in an easily readable way, and you can start using it as it is. And here, what we can see, this is the answer, and it has given me 7 valuation methods. And here I can either click here and see exactly which paragraph from this document in our database we are referencing. So let's see, with discounted cash flow, if I click here, I can see all the paragraphs that were used to provide an answer to the question. And if I'm more interested in going into the document, I can click here and go specifically to the document and specifically to the paragraph in the document that talks about the case. And if I want to continue my research further, I can go to the second use case, which is asking Jus AI about the case. So I was in the case, I click on Ask Jus AI, and now I chose the case, and I'm basically interacting with the case. So what I'm doing is I start my research, have a question, gives me an answer, go through the sources, and because the source is interesting, I go deeper into the source. And instead of reading all these paragraphs, I just go and interact with Jus AI, and I can start asking about the case. So let's say, what are the events that gave rise to this dispute? And it gives me an answer of it. And here I don't need to read all the case to understand whether the case is similar to the situation I'm faced to, and can continue with my research and seeing if I can continue asking questions to the assistant on this topic. So, for example, I can ask, how is the DCF method applied by arbitral tribunals? What we have heard from our users that have early access to the assistant is that their legal research has reduced by 20 to 30% by just using the assistant. So by replacing traditional research methods, legal professionals can bring efficiency into that use case of legal research. And that's before we released our legal drafting solutions, which we continue to do. And that is before we allow what we're currently working on, which is super exciting, which is allowing our users to upload documents. And with those uploaded documents, interact with the documents with Jus AI, as we have trained it with our data, with our legal expertise in-house, and with all the knowledge that we have gathered here at Jus Mundi, both technology and in law. Here we can see an answer. And the assistant is giving us overview of how the discount cash flow method has been applied by tribunals. And this is more to understand legal concepts, how the legal concepts have been applied. But now, if we want to make a more strategic question of how can I argue in favor of discounted cash flow in disputes arising from energy projects? This is more a strategic question. So how can I make this information that you've given me into an argument? And here we see the answer of how we can argue specifically of this method for energy projects. And we see different sources citing on each of the arguments that we can use. And again, this is super valuable if you're starting your research to get a proper answer, to kickstart your research and get all the sources to validate the information. And what I really like about the answers is, for example, the first point, we're seeing the suitability for energy projects, that this method is particularly appropriate for energy projects. And this answer is provided through, again, all the data that we have on our database, and it's backed with information that you can validate, and you can see it here on all the references. And finally, if we want to use this information to create a legal research memo, I can ask the assistant, draft a legal research memo with the conclusion from this conversation. And I can instruct a specific format with the history of the conversation to start drafting. So that second use case that we just launched, which is drafting a legal research memo. We have different draftings that I can show you as well. For example, draft an arbitration clause with ICC as an institution. We can also ask about enforcement proceedings and really tackle that international aspect, for example. So another question that we can ask is to translate a specific section or a specific email format on another language. And here we can see how it's giving us the answer in a legal research memo format. It has the introduction, the different sections, the different sources to cite in each section, and the conclusion. And here, what we really like is that we've grouped the different footnotes or the different references into one footnote. So you can have an easier format to copy and paste. And something super interesting as well is because we have such a global client base and global number of partners, so number of documents, we also have the multilingual aspect of the platform. Now I'm going to show you another type of prompt that we can do with the assistant, which is asking about enforcement proceedings in other countries. Again, because of the global client base that we have and global partners, this is a very interesting use case, the international aspect of our assistant. So we can ask, what is the procedure to enforce arbitral awards in Hong Kong? Something as well to highlight is that all the information, all the prompts, all the responses are fully secure and confidential because first we have self-hosted LLMs that we use for the assistant, and second, because we have a partnership with Microsoft, which means that we have a zero retention policy with them. So they do not use the data that we have to train the LLM. So we have this special partnership everything in the assistant is confidential. And this is opening the way for our subsequent use cases, which is a document upload and continuing the legal drafting tailored to law firms. So here we can see already an answer. What is the procedure to enforce arbitral awards in Hong Kong? And it gives me an answer based on the both enforcement documents that we have on our platform and based on rules, treaties that we have within our database. Here we see. So here we see what are the legal sources that govern enforcement. We see, again, we have all the footnotes that details and makes it verifiable, answers that are fully verifiable. And we're very excited about this because this is just the beginning. Again, our clients are telling us that they're already making their legal research 20 to 30% faster with the tool. Now, let's say that we want to summarize the content of this conversation and draft an email with it in Chinese. And here we start seeing the responses of the assistant. Again, it's our clients in China. Also, we have the assistant can answer questions in Arabic. They're very impressed with the results of that we're having on this multilingual part, and we're very excited on how our global platform can be used with Jus AI to tackle those global needs. And multilingual formats is actually something that we're expanding on quite a lot right now. So it's something super exciting. Here we can see the response. We can copy it and paste it on an email, so it's easy to share. And now the final question that I'm going to ask is for Jus AI to draft an arbitration clause template with ICC as arbitral institution. And here we see the response. And what I like about the response is as well, it gives you the brackets of where to introduce the information that you need to input to complete the arbitration clause. And as well, you always have the what information we're using as reference. Here, the arbitration rules of 2021 of the ICC. We're also using a couple of one case and mediation rules. So again, with this, what we allow is having zero hallucinations, quality answers, verifiable answers, and answers that you can use as a lawyer, and use cases that are limited right now by your imagination. So we're very excited about this tool. And yeah, that's the product demo. And just one small point that I wanted to finalize with is how you get access to this tool. Well, we're offering right now the Jus AI acceleration program, and it has two pillars. First, GenAI training, and second, access to the Jus AI Assistant. And this is to fully to allow our users and our clients to fully take all the benefits from generative AI tools such as Jus AI, and with a training, tailored training for our clients to use not only Jus AI, but to also use whatever other generative AI tools they have in their workflows. And with this, additionally, an access to Jus AI Assistant. And here you can experience generative AI in a secure and confidential ecosystem. And we only have 20 places available because we really want to make this training program fully tailored to our users. And if you want to know more, you can access this link. And that's it for the presentation and the demo.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Monica. That's great. Just a couple of quick questions, practical questions for people who are watching. So if you can tell us, what is the LLM or LLMs that you're using behind this?
Yeah, so we're using several LLMs depending on the language and depending on the specific workflow that's triggered for the different use cases. So we are using GPT-4 for the answers, and then we're using, depending on the part of the pipeline, different LLMs. So, for example, we have been testing with BERT, Mistral. So we really are testing and exploring different paths depending on, again, the language, depending on the specific workflow that is triggered.
Fantastic. And you mentioned hallucinations, and it's worth asking because I'm sure that everyone who buys the product, uses the product will want to know this. How are you eliminating the hallucinations?
Of course, that's something that everyone is concerned about, and ourselves as well. So we use RAG, so retrieval augmented generation, to answer all the questions. And the assistant, if it doesn't find the answer on our database, it will refuse to provide an answer. That's one way that we tackle hallucinations. And the second way is through verifiable outputs. So the footnotes that we provide with all the references to the sources. And this reduces the hallucination to almost zero. And the quality of the answers as well, it increases. So we have different parts of the pipeline. This is the most basic answer, but we also have different parts of the pipeline to re-ask the algorithm whether it's certain about the answer, to think more about the answer and provide that final answer that it's, again, verifiable and accurate.
Fantastic, fantastic. And really just the last question is, if someone's watching this, perhaps doesn't already have the Jus Mundi platform, how do they go about getting the platform and or getting this assistant?
Amazing. So you can reach out. This is my contact details, and this is our platform, jusmundi.com. Here you can request a trial, and our sales team will reach out to let you know what are the subsequent steps. And if you want to access Jus AI, you can go to the second link and request access to our early program. We're super excited because we just launched the Jus AI Assistant, this accelerated program on Sunday, and we already have many interested clients that are looking to sign. So it's super exciting.
Fantastic, Monica. That's really helpful and a very, very interesting product. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Richard.